to the next point. We should ensure whatever we see is clear.
That means work is being done. We can see that it is in opposite direction.
Good day, our students. Good day, other learners. I hope you have enjoyed the day. Welcome you to this important segment of the e-learning program organized by Kaduna State Ministry of Education. My name is Ibrahim Zakari, your history teacher. If you could remember, in our previous lessons, we have treated two great empires in the Guinea forest, Oyo Empire and Benin Empire. Today, we are going to discuss the Yoruba Civil Wars. Under this topic, we are going to look at the activities of Alapin Aole and Kakanfo Afonja. These two great men will not be forgotten in Yoruba history. Alapin Aole was the successor of Alapin Abiodun. Alapin Abiodun was the very person who brought an end the atrocities committed by Bashorun Gaha. If you could remember, the activities of Bashorun Gaha, the activities of Alapin Aole and Kakanfo Afonja of Ilorin were among the factors that led to the fall of Oyo Empire. Alapin Abiodun wiped out Bashorun Gaha, who forced subsequent Alapins to commit suicide within 20 years. When Alapin Abiodun ascended the throne, he destroyed Bashorun Gaha and his entire family from the surface of the earth. After his death, Aole succeeded him. But Aole was very weak and selfish. If Aole was a strong person like Bashorun Abiodun, Alapin Abiodun, Yoruba Civil War couldn't have taken place. If Kakanfo Afonja was not all that selfish, Yoruba Civil Wars couldn't have taken place. Aole, the man chosen to succeed Abiodun as Alapin, was not a strong personality as his predecessor. That was Abiodun. Trouble began at once with his reign. He made a great mistake. What was that mistake? Because it fell upon Aole, the new Alapin, to nominate, that is to appoint a new Kakanfo. Who was the Kakanfo? A Kakanfo was the commander of the Yoruba army, the entire army. He was the leader of the Esos. It was only the Alapin who has the responsibility of selecting a Kakanfo. At the same time, the Esos, the warchiefs, were only selected by the Oyomesi. Look at this separation of responsibility. The Esos could not collaborate with the Kakanfo against the Alafin because they were very loyal to the Oyomesi. And the Kakanfo was very loyal to the Alafin. At the same time, the Kakanfo could not collaborate with the Esos against the Oyomesi. That was the idea behind separation of this responsibility of choosing the Esos and Kakanfo. The Alapin should appoint a Kakanfo, the commander of the army. Then the Oyomesi, the kingmakers, should also appoint the Esos, not the Kakanfo. So instead of Awole to adhere to the rules and regulations led by the Yoruba people, that on no account should any person from royal blood, from descendant of Oramian, should be selected to be a Kakanfo. But Awole ignored this tradition. As I have said, traditionally, the office, that was the office of the Kakanfo, was not to be held, was not to be occupied by a person of royal blood. If that happened, then there will be the emergence of two strong personalities. And they will be in antagonistic nature. The Kakanfo will be eyeing the throne of the Alafin, and the Alafin will be afraid of the Kakanfo. That was the reason why somebody not from the royal family should be the Kakanfo, especially professional soldiers with a servile origin. Somebody, maybe he was a freed slave, with the suitable person to occupy that office. Why? Because he will be very loyal to the Alafin, very loyal to the Oyomesi. He couldn't throw his allegiance at all. Awole ignored this and appointed a kinsman of his. If we say a kinsman of his, my student, we mean his relation. Somebody very close to him. The person was Afonja, to fill the post of a Kakanfo. Awole was afraid of Afonja. He wanted to get rid of Afonja. He wanted to send him far away from him. For that reason, he appointed him to be the Kakanfo. Always the Kakanfo stationed in Ilorin, far away from Katanga, the capital of Oyo Empire. But Afonja was an ambitious man. His eyes was on the throne of the Alafin, despite the fact that he has been sent far away from the capital. But he was very over-ambitious. So he started building up himself, trying to seize power. Awole quickly began to build up his own power and forces in order to achieve his ambition. Awole became aware of Afonja's design, his plan. For that reason, the Alafin sent Kakanfo Afonja on a hazardous military campaign If I say hazardous, I mean very, very dangerous military campaign from which the Kakamfo was unlikely to return victorious. Traditionally, according to Yoruba people, once Kakamfo went on any military expedition and he was defeated, he should have to commit suicide instead of returning in humiliation. So Awole organized this hazardous military campaign so that if Afonja went there, he will be defeated and he has to commit suicide. So he has to get rid of him. That was the idea behind this plan. Alapin Awole, as I have said, wanted to get rid of Afonja, but things did not work out as Awole hoped. What was that hazardous military campaign? He sent him to go and attack Apomu, an Ife town, which was prohibited among the Yorubas to attack any town or village of Ife, their spiritual home. Ife was very sacred. It was prohibited. For that reason, Kakamfo Afonja refused to obey this instruction. At long last, there was military mutiny. Awole soldiers, known personally, close and loyal to him, were massacred. What happened later on? The Bashorun, the leader of the Oyomesi, forced Alapin Awole to commit suicide. Afonja was behind that. He thought he will be selected as the next Alafin. When he was not selected as the next Alafin, Afonja went back to Ilorin and collaborated with the Fulani jihadists in order to carve out his own personal domain. So Katanga was attacked. The new Alafin was forced to flee southward. To your information, my student, when Alafin Awole was forced to commit suicide, the next Alafin, within few months, was also forced to commit another suicide. Another one was selected. Within a year, 2 Alapins were forced to commit suicide until Alafin Atiba became the next Alafin, the son of Alafin Abiodun. Afonja collaborated with the Fulani jihadists in order to achieve independence of Ilorin. From there, the problem started. Let us look at the immediate causes. We have seen the activities of Alafin Awole and Kakamfo Afonja. Kakamfo Afonja collaborated with the Fulanis against his own people in order to achieve his own personal ambition. Okay, let us look at the immediate causes of that wars, which was fought by the Yoruba people. This war was prolonged for more than 70 years, from 1816 to 1893. My student, if you study the history of Yoruba Civil War, you will come to understand that not any part of this country shall carve out or break away and sustain peacefully. These people share the same religion, the same culture, and they speak the same language. But when they carve out, they failed to sustain peacefully for more than 70 years. Number one reason or cause that led to the outbreak of the Yoruba Civil War was the collapse of the empire. When the Fulani attacked Katanga, they defeated the Alafin and forced him to flee southward. Then Ibadan, a new settlement, began to attack other Yoruba people so that they will occupy the vacuum created by Oyo. So they wanted to gain dominance over other Yoruba states. It was another civil war. Oyo refugees moving southwards. The fall of Oyo in 1837 caused refugees, among them many soldiers, to move south toward the sea and establish new states. There was military confrontation between the new arrivals and the original inhabitants of the area they met. The third factor was the struggle to control trade routes to the south for firearms. All the towns, the old towns and the new settlements fought one another in order to get access to Europeans at the cost in order to obtain weapons. The fourth reason was personal ambitions of professional warriors like Kakampo Kurumi of Ijae and Ogumola of Ibadan. They were not from the royal family, but they built up empires in order to fill the vacuum created by the fall of Oyo. Let us look at the three major wars fought by the Yoruba people. Number one, we have the Owu War, which was fought between 1816 and 1823. This war involved Owu, Ife, the spiritual home of the Yoruba, and Ijebu. It was caused by Owu's attack on Apomu, a town under Ife. Already, Awole asked Afonja to attack Ife, but he refused. Then Alafin Awole asked the people of Owu to go and attack Ife. Why? Because his people from Oyo were kidnapped by the people of Ife. For that reason, he asked the people of Owu that they should attack Ife. So Owu went ahead and attacked Apomu. During that process, some businessmen from Ijebu were killed. That was the reason in 1816, Ijebu joined Ife and besieged Owu for 5 years before it fell in 1823. If I say besieged, means they rounded up, they stationed their armies in Owu for 5 good years, no in, no out, until when the faithful, a large number, died of hunger and famine. At long last, it was destroyed. Many of them moved toward the sea and established a new settlement in Abeokuta. Another great war was the Ijaye War, which was fought in 1860 to 1865. Ijaye was under one strong professional army, Kakanfo Kurumi. He was a dictator, very brutal. This war began when Alafin Atiba, the son of Alafin Abiodun, nominated his own son, the Aremo, to succeed him. When he died, his son succeeded him, which was contrary to the tradition of the Yoruba people. If the Alafin died, then his first son should also commit suicide and died with him. Their system of administration prevented the eldest son of the Alafin to succeed him to the throne in order to stop any would-be palace coup. So this Alafin Atiba ignored this tradition and appointed his son. Kurumi of Ijaye refused to accept the leadership of the new Alafin, but Ibadan accepted it. For that reason, there was war between the people of Ijaye and Ibadan. At long last, Ibadan was victorious and destroyed Ijaye in 1862. Abeokuta and Egba, who were allies of Ijaye, attacked Ijebu of Remu and the British. Why did they attack them? Because they supply Ibadan with firearms, of which they used to defeat Ijaye. The last war was the Ekiti-Parapo-Okiriji Wars, which was fought between 1877 and 1893. This war involved Ekiti, Ilesha, and Ife, who formed Ekiti-Parapo alliance against Ibadan. War broke out in 1877 when Ibadan tried once more to break Ijebu-Egba control of the trade route to the coast. Other states joined Ekiti-Parapo against Ibadan. Some clergymen among the Christian Yoruba people organized a peace agreement which was signed in 1886, which with other things recognized the independence of Ekiti-Parapo alliance. Ilesha was recognized as an independent state, not under the control of Ibadan. War broke out again in 1890 between Ibadan and Ilorin again, because the people of Ilorin refused to sign that peace agreement, but was brought to an end by the British military intervention between 1892 and 1893. Let us look at the impact of the wars, that is the consequences. There was social consequences. There was much disruption in family life. Husbands were declared missing and wives turned into widows. Many people were killed. Many villages and farmlands were razed and destroyed. There was the emergence of new communities which cut across some ethnic loyalties, example, Ibadan. Political consequences. Duo chiefs or professionals acquired immense power and prestige, like Kakanfo Kurumi, Ogumola of Ibadan, Sodeke of Abeokuta. Many of them took the status of traditional rulers and could not be challenged. They have established a fascist regime. For example, Kurumi of Ijayi. Economic consequences. The war brought considerable wealth to the Europeans who supplied the guns to the Yoruba people. It also brought prosperity to those who acted as middlemen and suppliers from the coast. There was much agricultural works and increase in food production. Many prisoners of war were turned over to the farms. In Ibadan, there was a woman who owned 200 slaves who worked on her farm on a daily basis. Before I go, I will give you an assignment. Number one, what were the effects of the Yoruba Civil Wars? The effects of the Yoruba Civil Wars. Number two, explain the activities of Alafin Awole and Kakanfo Afonja as the origin of Yoruba Civil Wars. My name is Ibrahim Zakari. My contact number, if you want to send any question or you want to send your assignment which you have attempted, you send it through this number. It is my WhatsApp number, 070-8420-3260. Stay safe, keep learning. Thank you.